Learning and development principle. Today we'll be discussing everything under this topic in this presentation. So let us proceed with this presentation thereby. So basic agenda is all about the training system, the trainer's roles, the trainer's responsibility, the methods, the process, and the principles of adult learning, if any. So we need to understand exactly about the training system, the trainer's roles and responsibilities, the training methods and processes, and the adult learning process around by. Thereabout, we have been saying about it is a learning and development principle. So focuses would be also on the learner styles or the learning styles, learning exchanges, instructional strategies, instructional media, planning, preparation and skills, and delivery skills. That is very important, which has been shown in this particular pic. If you want to go around it, you will see it. So it tells a lot many things as far as learning styles are concerned, the exchanges that needs to be done, the instructional media that needs to be followed, the preparation stage and the delivery skills thereby. So we will be discussing the do's and the don'ts, the pitfalls, the fatal mistakes, the wrongdoings that should be avoided, how to answer questions, difficulties in questions and learners, evaluations and continuous evaluation as the case might be. So these are the things that needs to be taken into consideration before we proceed altogether. So you must know what we are getting into it. Definitely yes, this is of prime importance for all of us. The do's, the don'ts, the fatal mistake, the answering question, difficult question and answer sessions as the case might be. So let us proceed with the training system. Remember, training is a continuous effort that goes on by on. It's a transfer of knowledge, skills, and abilities that comes around it. It's a continuous system of what? Of enhancement in knowledge. Of what? It's the increase in the skills. Of what is the ironing out of the attitude or the designated attitude that needs to be brought in. So training is all about it, and it's a continuous knowledge. So whatever knowledge you might possess today, you will have to upgrade it day after tomorrow, and so on and so forth. So knowledge gets added on, so does your skills. Some skills become redundant, some skills you need to acquire it to make yourself relevant, and that is what training would be doing around it. Remember, training system has to be focus onto the participants requirements, what they need to do, what the workers needs to be able to do. Then it should always be linked with what? Linked with your outcomes, objectives, linked with instructions. It is certain parameters that needs to be added upon it. After undergoing a training, a person should pick up at least few tricks or traits altogether. It should be reusable and repeatable. Yes, only what will happen, the numbers of participants or the heads of the participants will change. Probably you keep on upgrading upon your training system thereby. So let us understand the planning and preparation stage, implementation and delivery stage, training evaluation, revisions of materials, as the case might be. This is what we will look into with training systems thereby. So this is what we will be talking about. We'll talk about the trainers' roles, the facilitators, the presenters, and the coach. How we come across with it. What is the role of a trainers as a facilitator, as a presenter, as a coach? We will need to know he has basically, he or she will actually not only bridge the gap of knowledge or skills, but also be an effective presenter, so that there is a sense of inquisitiveness that crops out in the mind of the trainees, and a definitely doable coach as on when on required. Suitable feedback and suitable enhancement should be done. So trainers' responsibility is to set the initial modes. You should always bring in the energy, the positivity, creating an effective climate for learning. Motivate and encourage participation in the learning process. Definitely, yes. Be accepting of the comments and avoid getting defensive. Now, this is what the trainer's responsibility is all about. He or she is the person who is going to set the ball rolling with the energies, with the effective climate for learning, conduciveness. It They should be the one who should be invigorating the participants to acquire the desired knowledge and skills, and probably get not getting overly defensive, or probably not going through just to the motion of the thing. The trainer responsibility is to optimize the lighting for viewing and changes as in necessary. Remember, we are here to train. That means the participant has to be very comfortable in the ambiences that you want to going to create around it, and that is what the trainer's responsibility is all about. It is there are elements in your sessions where probably certain people might not be very interested, might not be very responsive. On the contrary, they might actually be bit of a disruptive in nature. So it is the responsibility of trainers to control them. Offer yourself as a resources as what is bothering them, what can be done, and offers things that can eliminate any kind of wrongdoing. Allow for limited discussions, challenges of the idea presented. Discuss how the learning can be applied in real world application as the case might be. So that is what trainers would be looking into it. Discuss how learning can be applied in real world application. Goes around it, for it, and towards it. So always treat the participant with with respect. Give the dignity that a person requires, a human being requires. As a trainer, it is your responsibility not to not to demean the participant or the audience or the students or the trainees the way you want to go around it. Avoid stereotyping. Definitely yes. Do not go through the motions just for the sake of the motions around it. Make yourself available at the beginning of the breaks, after the class, answer to individual participant questions. Try to build bridge, try to form bond, try and implement what is required in the first place. And that is what the trainer's responsibility is all about it. Right at the beginning. Make yourself available at the beginning. And the classes to answer individual participants questions thereby. So training methods, effectiveness of informations, retain it's related to training use. Now, what is it been trying to tell it to you? Let me tell it to you in forms of training method, which is just read, less than 10% is retained. Absolutely. On hearing, probably 20% or even less you would retain as the past as a process of training altogether. Seeing, you might go through the motions. Probably, there is very difficult for you to comprehend how much can be retained because you don't see whether you're actually seeing or watching. Seeing and hearing, similarly, that comes around it. Approximately 30% that works around it. So this is what we need to be taking around. Absolutely. Then is something called talking and writing is about 70 odd percent. Seeing and hearing would be 40%. Seeing and talking and writing would be less than 70%, but doing is approximately 90%. So training method that comes around it, which needs to be understood. Reading 10%, hearing 20%, seeing 30%. Seeing and hearing would be 40%. Talking and writing would be 70%, and doing plus everything else is 90%. So training methods, definitely yes, this is where we would love to speak everyone about the participant on what you tell them, what you want to tell them. Explain it at the very beginning about the learning objectives, about the subject material. Distribute the subject material if possible beforehand. The training has been ensured. Tell them so that you can set the expectation very realistic of what have you told them. Review learnings, objectives and activities at the fag end of the training process. You need to go that whatever has been promised earlier in the beginning of the sessions have been delivered by the end, and that is what will enable confidence building measures among the participants or the trainees thereby. Now, this was all about training. Now let us come to the learning. So this we are, remember, we are looking into learning and development principles, right? So learning are the two types. People who are actively interested to learn and pick up the tricks. That is what we are looking into it. And then there are people who would be going through the motions and repeatedly and inadvertently or unconsciously they will pick up the learning style. So people who might be interested, people who are not interested at all. So learning exchanges. Number one is peer to peer or participants to participants. How vibrant is the relationship that goes around it? but this is where everybody is at that equal parameter. So probable cases scenario is very bright. Next is a participant to trainer, now wherein the participant is approaching to the trainers and probably getting the things clarified as on when on the required the concern. On the other hand, the third would be the trainers to participants, wherein the trainers would come up with the preformed motions probably and go through the motions altogether. One, or might go into deep if he or she sees that the participants are really encouraging and they are really want to pick certain things. Definitely, then this is a process that needs to be taken care for. So we have exchanges three types: participants to participant, participants to trainer, and trainers to participant, as the case might be. Instructional strategies is characteristics of workers. Definitely, yes. You will decide upon the pedagogy based upon the type of the audiences of the participant that goes around it. If people are literate enough, probably yes, laptops and things like might work around it. If people are not literate enough at all, probably you might have go for a video presentation. Probably will have chalk and talk. Probably a lot of talk. So we need to iron out those strategies, instructional strategies, or figure out the pedagogy as per the requirement of the audiences. So, characteristics of workers, presentation, practice, feedback, testing is what we would be aspiring forward to or looking forward to. That is what the instructional strategies would be. So, taking about instructional strategies, number one is talking head, demonstration, discussion, and one-to-one. If possible, can you demonstrate it? You should not be speaking blindly, and probably just modulation of voice will not be enough to capture the attention of the audiences altogether. So, demonstration, discussion, one-to-one, and so on and so forth. Basis that comes around it. This is what we are looking for. Instructional media, PowerPoint presentations. Yes, there are many. We have the DVD, the whiteboards, the flip charts, the handouts. So I have given you a PowerPoint presentation, the DVDs, the whiteboard is there, probably absolutely here. The flip chart and the handouts. Handouts are basically written documents which has been given to the audiences or the participant for them to understand in details of what has been elaborated in the session. Now let us understand how we set up the planning and preparation stages one by one. Probably four scenarios would be there. The first one is an ambience. Remember, ambience is what will set the ball rolling. If the ambience is good, the participants will be more than enough to be interested in it. The ambience is good, the trainer himself or herself would be more eager to go there. Now, this ambience can be built upon. This is nothing which you cost to go around it. So please go for the checklist as far as location is concerned, direction is concerned, so that people are able to reach the destination on time. Accommodations, if there are any adequate tables and chairs, food and beverage for the breaks, this will set the ball rolling. This will ensure that there is a positivity in the year altogether, and that is what ambience is all about. It location and direction to the venue of the training, accommodation in case people are working coming from far off distances, adequate tables and chairs, and the F&B or the food and beverage for the breaks that comes around it. The learning environment is the classroom. Now this is where we will talk about the suitable space and accommodation for the training, the set of chairs, the set of trainers, tables for the participants and the trainers. The appropriate lightings and temperatures needs to be identified and needs to be adhered to so that people are comfortable in their skin. Then comes the audio visual equipment. Yes, I have said a lot many things about presentation, DVDs, flip chart, whiteboards, things like that. In case you are going through this thing, can we check it up with your laptop computers, with your projectors and screen, with the wireless presenters, with the slide changer if you want to go around it, the spare batteries, DVD player, televisions, related cables, extension cords, and power strip. Set up and test all equipment before the classes. This is what we are looking forward to as the case might be. So we have to ensure what needs to be done. We need to go through Training materials and supplies, flash drive with PowerPoint presentation, videos, etc. Easel, flip charts, markers, pens and pencil, clipboards, handouts, and material for activities as the case might be. So this is the training materials and supplies which we look around pens and pencils, clipboard, handouts, and material for activities as the case might be. Then comes the administrative scenarios. The administrative scenarios are the registration forms. Now, how do you conduct? You don't conduct the training only on the day of the training, but you start conducting the training from the day the training has been mooted around or has been conceptualized. So this is where you got to go with the sign-in form, the registration form, the schedule of the sessions, the learning, the smile survey, the pre-class, post-class test that goes around it. Everything will be incorporated in the part of the training. Training is just not the imparting of the knowledge and skills during the session. There are pre-session, post-session, pre-test, post-test, the class schedule, the registration form, everything counts. Remember the handouts. Now, this is where we need to go about the handouts of the PowerPoint presentation, probably, if required. Yes, go ahead with it. The door prizes or the certificate that comes around it. This is what we will be talking and we'll be doing it time and again. Then comes the preparation skills. Know your audiences. Expect to be nervous. Review all training materials. The trainer guides you so that you are thoroughly familiar with the information to present yourself. And that is what we are looking for. It is know your audiences. Expect to be nervous. Review all training materials and the trainer guide so that you are thoroughly familiar with every information that needs to be presented thereby. This is what we are looking forward to. Now, preparation skills, let us test the knowledge of the topics, the materials that will increase. As the trainers, we need to understand the topic very well ourselves. We should be imbibed, we should be fluent with the skills that is around it. If not, in case you are not, then practice. Practice with your training presentation with your in front of your families, in front of your colleagues, in front of your co-workers, in front of your friends. The more you practice, the better it will be, and this will enable a wonderful learning and development experiences. With this words, I would love to wind up this particular presentation. Thank you for watching this video.